Let's be realistic. There are always people who love to test your limits, interrupt, make comments that seem provocative, or act like your time and feelings don't matter. And somehow, they expect you to just smile and let it go. But not today. If you're tired of dealing with people who don't respect you, this video is for you. I'll be straightforward and maybe even a little controversial as I talk about how to handle disrespect without losing your calm and without compromising your self-respect. Get ready, because by the end, you'll have everything you need to show where the line should be drawn. Let's get started. Number 1. Use the silent stare. Let's start with one of my favorite and somewhat ruthless techniques, the silent stare. You might think, really? Just a stare? Yes, trust me. When someone is being rude or disrespectful, nothing confuses them more than a calm, steady, and uninterested gaze. Here's why this works. People who don't respect others often seek a reaction. They want you to stumble, feel awkward, or even return the attack. They try to pull you into their drama, making you second-guess yourself or feel bad. But when you simply look at them in silence, with no expression, suddenly the dynamic changes. I know, it might sound a bit harsh, but listen. There's something very uncomfortable about someone not giving the expected response. When you hold a steady and silent gaze, you are silently telling them that you're not playing that game. It's a way of taking control without doing anything. And sometimes that silent look is the clearest, most powerful no you can give. Let me tell you about a time this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting and a guy kept interrupting me as if it was his mission. You know the type. Loud, overly confident, thinking everyone's there just to hear his wisdom. I tried being polite, tried to intervene, but he wouldn't stop. So, finally, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and stared at him, unblinking, with no expression, for a solid 5 seconds. I didn't say anything. You could feel the tension in the air. And the best part, everyone around started looking at him too, wondering what was going on. You know what happened? He got uncomfortable, fumbled with his words, and suddenly looked anywhere else but at me. He didn't interrupt me again during the meeting. That silent look did more than any words could have. And not only did it stop his behavior, but afterward, he began to treat me with more respect, as if he finally realized he couldn't just disrespect me. The power of silence. Sometimes you need to show who you are without saying a word, but this technique goes beyond just a power move. When you use the silent stare, you are sending a message to the other person and to yourself that you don't need to dance to anyone else's tune. You don't owe an emotional response to anyone, and you don't have to prove your worth to someone who doesn't recognize it. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Often, when someone disrespects us, we feel like we need to defend ourselves, argue, or worse, let it slide to avoid a conflict. But the silent stare isn't about being aggressive. It's about showing that you're strong, calm, and fully in control of yourself. This technique also holds people accountable. Those who often disrespect others do so without thinking because they've never been confronted, never faced real consequences. When you face someone with a steady, serious gaze, it's like holding up a mirror to them. Suddenly they have to deal with their own behavior. You don't need to say they're wrong, you just show them. And most people don't like what they see. Personal transformation. What's interesting is that this technique doesn't just make others back off, but it also boosts your self-esteem. When you stay silent and stand firm, you're reminding yourself that external words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type who nervously laughed off rude comments or tried to justify myself when someone questioned my choices. But that only drained my energy and made me feel worse. Learning to just look at someone and let the silence fill the space without backing down was a turning point. It might seem like a small act of resistance, but really, it's a silent and powerful declaration of self-respect. So, the next time someone is rude, crosses a line, or tries to put you down, try the silent stare. Just look at them and let them feel the weight of your silence. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it will make them feel and how empowered you'll feel. Can you feel it? The silent stare says, I respect myself too much to let you drag me into your negativity. And that's a message worth sending. Number 2, embrace silence as your response. Here's a very simple yet powerful secret weapon. Silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the strongest responses you can give is simply not reacting. I know what you're thinking. But silence seems passive, like I'm letting the person get away with it. But the truth is, silence is not passive. It's a choice. And sometimes, It's the most powerful and impactful response you can give. When someone throws negativity your way, they're trying to drag you into their drama, make you feel small, or get you to defend yourself. But when you don't go along with it, when you just let their words float in the air without saying anything, it forces the person to face their own behavior. This silence is a loud response. The reason this strategy works is simple. People who disrespect others often expect a reaction. They want to fight, justify themselves, or at least get validation for what they're doing. But silence says, I won't give you my attention. By not reacting, you maintain control and make it clear, I'm not here to deal with your disrespect. Sometimes the best way to communicate is to say nothing. It's a quiet, subtle reminder that certain people don't deserve your time or words. I remember a time when someone couldn't resist making jokes. You know the type. They hide insults as jokes and try to act harmless. One day this person made an unnecessary comment about my work, clearly just to provoke me. Normally I would have tried to explain myself or even fired back, but this time I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said nothing. I let his words hang in the air, let the silence stretch on. And you know what happened? He got lost for words. He looked at me, then looked down, mumbled something, and changed the subject. From then on, he never tried that with me again. It seemed like he realized that if I wasn't reacting, there was nothing to gain. And that's what silence does. It takes away the attention that disrespect seeks. Number 3, silence is a powerful choice. Here's the most important message. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I value my peace more than your opinion of me. And that's not just empowering, it's life-changing. Often we feel like we need to respond, justify ourselves, defend our choices, or prove our worth to people who aren't even willing to respect us. But by choosing silence, you refuse to play by their rules. You take a stand without doing anything. You make it clear, you don't deserve my words. And it's not just about controlling the situation, it's about reclaiming your energy. Silence works as a filter, protecting your peace and blocking the negativity others try to push on you. When you stop feeling like you need to respond to every rude comment or snide remark, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world and start living the way you want. I'll be honest with you, learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I would seem weak or passive. But I began to notice something interesting. Every time I responded to someone who disrespected me, I felt drained and frustrated. But when I held my tongue and let the comments slide without impact, I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. It was like each time I chose silence instead of reacting, I was reclaiming a bit of my power. A challenge for you. Here's my challenge for you. Next time someone disrespects you, take a moment, breathe deeply, look the person in the eye and say nothing. Let your silence speak for itself. You'll be amazed at how uncomfortable it will make the other person feel and how liberating it will be for you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes the best thing is to say nothing. Know what you don't have to justify. When you stop explaining yourself, you regain your independence and show these people that your life isn't up for debate. Let's dig into why people feel entitled to demand an explanation. When someone questions your choices, it's often because they can't accept a perspective different from their own. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too afraid to take, or maybe you're stepping outside of the norm they find comfortable. Your courage to do things differently may bother them, and asking for an explanation is their way of trying to fit you into what they think is right. But here's the point. Just because they feel uncomfortable doesn't mean you need to reassure them. Your life isn't a TV show to please others. You don't have to justify your decisions to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch careers, leaving a stable job for something I was truly passionate about. But that came with many risks. When people found out, it felt like I'd told them I was moving to the moon. I got questions all the time. Why would you leave a secure job? How are you going to make this work? At first I tried to explain, talking about my need for fulfillment, about how I had a plan. But I soon realized that no matter what I said, it was never enough. The more I tried to explain, the more they questioned me, making me feel like I had to prove something. Then one day, I decided to try something different. When someone asked, "But why would you leave that job?" I simply said, "Because I wanted to." No more explanations, no justifications, just a simple answer. And it felt great. The silence that followed said everything. People didn't know what to say because I had taken away their power to question my choices. And guess what happened? They stopped asking. If you've made it this far, congratulations. This is a big step in recognizing your value and learning to set healthy boundaries. Remember, the power to hold your head high lies in you and in how you present yourself to the world. I want you to remember that your peace and self-esteem don't depend on anyone's approval. Comment below something that reminds you of your power, like, "I am my biggest respect." Now let's get back to what matters. The real beauty of not justifying yourself is this. It's freeing. It's you speaking your truth, knowing that your choices are valid simply because you made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you give yourself permission to live authentically, without carrying the weight of others' expectations. You stop wasting energy trying to explain and start using it to live the life you truly want. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need anyone's approval. Not every decision needs to be examined or approved by others. And when you stop justifying yourself, you send a clear message. I trust my decisions. I don't need your approval. Think about it. When was the last time you saw someone truly confident justifying every decision they made? Probably never. People who control their own lives don't need external validation. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. I've been in that place. I used to give long explanations, almost like a lecture, trying to convince others to support my choices. But over time, I realized that trying to justify everything only made me doubt myself. So I made a pact with myself. When someone questioned a decision of mine, I would give a quick answer, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. If they insisted, I would just smile and move on. And guess what happened? My life became lighter. The less I explained myself, the more confident I felt. Now, here's my challenge to you. Next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Just say, "Because I wanted to," or "It made sense to me." And then, let the silence speak for you. See how powerful this can be. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and at peace with yourself. And the best part? You'll realize that your choices don't need anyone's approval. They're valid just because you made them. Imagine your life as an exclusive club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone is constantly overstepping your boundaries, making you feel small, or spreading negativity, why keep them around? It's okay to distance yourself. In fact, it's necessary. Distance can give you the clarity to see things for what they really are, without the fog of emotional manipulation or guilt. Think about it. When you keep people around who disrespect you, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional feast, where they take, criticize, and judge at will. And then we wonder why we feel drained, anxious, or frustrated. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-care. It's protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for people who truly respect you and help you grow. Letting go of guilt for distancing yourself can be liberating. You are not obligated to keep people who disrespect you in your life. I'll share a quick story. Once I had a friend who always found a way to make sarcastic remarks about every decision I made. My career, my relationships, and even my taste in music. At first I thought, well, that's just his way. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I kept that friendship, trying to ignore the jabs and believing it wasn't a big deal. But over time, those small attacks started to affect me. I realized I was always on edge, preparing for the next criticism, the next joke that, deep down, felt like a punch. One day I decided to try a different approach. I didn't make a big announcement, nor did I sit this person down for a serious conversation. I just started spending less time with him. Instead of seeing him every week, I saw him maybe once a month. And guess what? I felt lighter, freer. In that space, I realized how toxic that friendship had become. The distance gave me clarity to see that I deserved friends who uplifted me, not tore me down. Here's something important. Some people will say that keeping distance is selfish. They'll say, "But it's your family," or "You've been friends for years." It might feel uncomfortable, maybe even a bit taboo, to admit that someone you've known well is simply bad for you. Society teaches us to be loyal, forgiving, and always nice. But at what cost? Here's a secret. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's essential. You are not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag, or to be a constant source of validation for others. Sometimes the best way to show that enough is simply to walk away. And here's the deeper part. Keeping your distance is a strong reminder that you are your top priority. You don't need to play the role others have given you. You owe nothing to anyone, whether with your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you create space between yourself and people who don't respect you, You make it clear that your well-being comes first, and that's not just self-care, that's self-respect. Distance also gives you the opportunity to rethink and focus on relationships that really matter, the ones that truly lift you up. Think about it. The more time you spend with those who respect you, the more confident and satisfied you feel. And the less time you spend with those who hurt you, the less impact they have on your mood, your thoughts, and your life. I used to feel a lot of guilt for distancing myself from some people, even when they didn't treat me well. I thought, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm overreacting. But over time, I learned that stepping back wasn't just about avoiding negativity, it was about making space for my growth. When I started allowing myself this distance, I felt a new freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer view of who I really wanted by my side. So, here's my challenge for you. Think about the people who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Now ask yourself, do they really deserve so much of my time? For someone's disrespect to affect you, you have to let it. But when you stay calm and move forward confidently, you're showing them that they don't have the power to bring you down. You become unbeatable, and those who live off disrespect don't know how to deal with it. It throws them off, making them doubt their own power, not yours. I remember a time with a person who just loved making harsh comments whenever we met. You know that type. The one who always has a smile but drops a joke that's really a disguised attack. I used to try to ignore it, but honestly it bothered me. I started feeling afraid to be around them, always feeling like I needed to defend myself. Then one day, I decided I was tired of feeling inferior. I stood tall, held my head up high, and whenever they made a sarcastic remark, I just looked them in the eyes, smiled, and moved on, as if nothing happened. And guess what? They started backing off. It was like they could feel that their words no longer had an effect on me, that I was above that nonsense. Suddenly, their power was gone. There's something incredibly strong about holding your head high. It's like a quiet strength that says, I'm immune. Now, here's an important point. People who don't respect others usually don't like seeing someone confident. It messes with their view of the world. They want to believe they're above you, that they control you. But when you walk with confidence, it shatters that idea. To them, it can even be offensive. Society doesn't always know how to handle confident people, especially those who refuse to let others' negativity define who they are. It might even make you a target. But keeping your head high isn't about others. It's about you. It's living like you fully recognize your worth, as if you have nothing to prove. And believe me, this can seem like a radical act of self-respect. When you keep your head high, you're making a statement about your self-esteem. You're saying that no matter what happens, you see yourself as valuable and worthy of respect. And here's the deeper message. Self-esteem doesn't come from others. It comes from within. No matter what they say or think, you live knowing you already have everything you need inside. Keeping your head high is a constant reminder that you are the main character in your story, that no one's opinion has the right to make you feel less. And the best part, the more you practice this, the less other people's negative actions affect you. You'll be too busy living your life, too sure of who you are, to worry about their attempts to bring you down. This didn't come easily to me. I used to be the person who avoided eye contact, who shrank when someone was critical or dismissive. It felt safer to hide in a way. But over time, I realized that every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone's negativity affect me, I felt stronger. It was like reminding myself every moment that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel valuable. Holding your posture upright isn't just about how you stand physically, it's also about how you think. Walk into any place as if it's yours. Don't shrink to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. If someone makes a sharp joke, let it go. They're not seeing who you really are. They're only showing their own insecurities. So, why care about it? Here's my challenge for you. Next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a disguised provocation or a direct insult, don't move. Instead, take a deep breath, straighten your shoulders, and hold your posture. Look the person in the eyes as if to say, I see you, but I'm above this. You'll feel a rush of confidence, a peace that comes from knowing their words don't control you. Keeping your posture upright isn't just about standing tall. It's a powerful message of self-respect. It says, I know who I am, I value myself as I am, and nothing you say can change that. Because in the end, respect starts from within. The more you value yourself, the less others' disrespect will affect you. Stand tall. Own your worth. And remember, you deserve every bit of that confidence. Life's too short to waste time trying to please those who don't recognize your value. You don't need anyone's permission to protect your peace and live life on your own terms. People will try to knock you down, test your boundaries, question your choices. That's the world we live in. But the secret is, you have the power to decide what kind of energy you let into your life. You define how you want to be treated. And the best part? The more you focus on respecting yourself, the more you attract people who see you for who you really are, who help you grow rather than drag you down. It all starts with you taking back your power and letting everything else fall into place. So keep your head high, use silence to your advantage, and never feel guilty for distancing yourself from what doesn't serve you. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and think about subscribing for more content on confidence and self-respect. Share it with someone who could use this reminder to stand up for themselves, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to set boundaries against disrespect? If you're not sure what to write, drop a phrase that reminds you of your power, like, "I'm in charge of my energy." We've reached the end, and I hope this made you feel stronger in your ability to respect yourself and protect your peace of mind. Remember, respect starts with you, and that's what makes you unshakable when life gets tough. Keep moving forward, and don't be afraid to put yourself first. See you soon.